Alright, so this video we're going to look at solving a polynomial equation. I've got about 3 examples to show you, and and each example is going to have its own video. So this one's going to be an easier one. It'll be the polynomial, it'll be a degree 3, and when we break it down, it's going to factor. The example 2, it'll be a degree 3 polynomial, but when we break it down, it won't factor. So we'll look at that case. And then the last example will be the polynomial will be degree 4. So you can check those out. Alright, so here we go. We have the rational zero test, and it says if the polynomial f of x, and here's our polynomial, okay, a sub n raised to the x to the n, this is a degree n polynomial, and then it goes all the way down to a naught, our constant term, has integer coefficients. Every rational zero of f has the form p over q, okay, so that would be the form of your zero, p over q. P and Q have no common factors other than 1. Okay, so that means it's reduced. Okay, you would reduce the fractions. And P is a factor of the constant term a naught. Okay, so all the numbers, all the factors of the constant term, that's going to be P. And all the factors of the leading coefficient, this a sub n, the number in front of the variable with the largest exponent, that's going to be q. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at an example. Alright, so we have this polynomial here, and we want to find the zeros. Alright, so well, first thing, notice we have 4 terms. Well, when you're solving something, the best thing to do first is see if it factors. And so remember, if you have 4 terms, you could split it down the middle, do factor by grouping. Well, this one's not going to do it, so we're going to have to, do like we're going to do in this video. But I just want you to be aware. I mean, just because that you've learned how to solve them a certain method doesn't mean that you don't use what you already know. Okay, I mean, if it'll do factor by grouping, do that and solve it. There's no need to go through all of this, what we're going to do in this problem. So just be aware of that. Alright, so first thing we need to do is find P and Q. So P, that's all the factors of the constant term. Well, the only factors there is 1 and 3. But it's not just 1 and 3, it's plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 3. Because if you think about it, look at this. 1 times 3 is 3, and negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. Okay, so you're always going to put that plus or minus there. Okay, and then we need to find the factors of Q. Well, the factors of 2, well, that's going to be what? Plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 2. Okay. Then we need P over Q. So P over Q. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 1 and put it over this, the 1 and put it over this. Okay. And remember, it's going to be plus or minus. I'm going to write it all out. Plus or minus 1 over 1, plus or minus 1 over 2, and then I do the same thing with the 3. So that's going to be plus or minus 3 over 1, and then plus or minus 3 over 2. Okay, so I put this over each one, and then the 3 over each one. Okay, and obviously it's not going to be 1 over 1, it's just 1, and instead of writing 3 over 1, we're going to write 3. Okay, and you know, if you needed to, you would reduce the fractions also. All right, so now what we have to do is we have to see which one is a zero. Okay, so well, you just have to take each one and plug it in to see if we get zero. Well, the easiest way to do that is to use synthetic division, and you should have learned synthetic division by now. We've got 2, 3, -8, 3, and I have videos on synthetic division if you need to look at them. Okay, so here we have the coefficients. Okay, so we put that there, and I usually just start out with 1. Okay, just use the 1, and let's see if it works. So remember, synthetic division, bring the 2 down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. And remember, that's your remainder. And if you get a remainder of 0, then that means 1 is a factor. Okay, so there you go. We have one of the zeros. It's 1. Okay, now, well, look what we're left with. We're left with this. So we're left with, if you remember, this would be what? X squared, x, and your constant term. Okay, so actually what's happening here is this, okay, you see this? It is the same thing. It's kind of like we're factoring it. That's x minus 1, because 1 is a 0, times this, 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. Okay, so this right here, it's kind of like you're factoring this polynomial here. Okay, so there's one factor, x minus 1, because 1 was a 0, and see if you have 1 is a factor, so that means x equals 1 is a 0, right? Well, if you move the 1 over, you get x minus 1 equals 0. So there you go, x minus 1 is a factor. Okay, so there's 1 0. Now what we need to do is we need to take the x squared plus 5x minus 3, set that equal to 0. See, now we're going to set this equal to 0 and solve it. Okay, so, well, this will factor. So that'd be 2x, x, let's see, 3, 1, plus, and minus. So 2x minus 1 equals 0, or x plus 3 equals 0. And so we solve that, we get x equal 1/2, or x equal -3. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're taking this and we're breaking it down. Okay, like we're factoring it. Okay, and you can see once we do this, we've broken it down to this times and then whatever we have left over. Okay, and then this part right here, well, this is just a quadratic. We know how to solve that. It factors. But as you'll see in the next problem, this isn't going to factor, so, but that's no big deal. We can handle that. Okay, but you know, that's all it is. And so our solution is going to be -3, 1/2, and 1. That's your zeros there. Okay, so I hope this helped. Give me a like and subscribe, and check out my other videos, and thanks for watching.